Next guest is, he's in the news. In fact, we just told him he's in the news for something he had no idea about. And he's Manish Mehta, the NFL writer at the New York Daily News. All right, let's start with Saturday night with your, tete-a-tete with Rex Ryan. How would you describe your relationship with him, first of all?
Oh, it's pretty good, Dan. I've covered him since he came aboard in 2009, and I think we got a fair amount of respect for each other.
Okay, but what we saw, because we'll play the clip here, after the game, they win the game, and, of course, the decision to have Mark Sanchez in there. But with what you heard from him, was that typical, or was that something a little bit different from Rex Ryan, his explanation, his delivery?
Well, Dan, I think that he realized that night right away that he made a mistake by putting Sanchez in there because there's really no logical explanation as to why, at that point, when you knew that Sanchez was going to be the Week 1 starter after Geno Smith imploded really in the first half, there's no reason to put Sanchez in behind a second and third string offensive line. So I think he was frustrated by that, and we didn't know at the time the extent of Sanchez's injury. So that kind of added into it. But it certainly was strange, probably one of the more surreal press conferences that I've attended with him.
All right, here's Rex Ryan and Manish Mehta from the New York Daily News going back and forth.
I don't have to answer a question. I answer it the way I said. And from day one, I said, we will make the announcement of a starting quarterback when we think it's the appropriate time. Not when this person or this person or this person. Now, maybe that person, but that's about it.
Okay, after the game, you tweeted, I want to make sure I got it correct here. You said that Rex Ryan should be fired after the game for that decision. Is that right?
That's correct. I think when I got in front of my keyboard about an hour or so later, after listening to Rex and kind of digesting everything, and not knowing, again, what Sanchez's injury was, what I think the wiser course of action, and I wrote this in the paper in my column, was that I think this was a decision that ultimately could be a fireable offense, I should say, depending on the extent of the injury and how things unfold with his team, because Geno Smith is just not ready, Dan. He's not ready to be the starting quarterback Week 1. And I have a great deal of respect for Rex Ryan's football acumen, specifically his defensive acumen, but he's made a lot of mistakes managing this team over the last couple of years, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, dealing with quarterbacks. You saw that last year with Tim Tebow. And he's been sticking to his talking points. I'll give him that, because the question that I actually asked him, in which he responded in a strange fashion to, was a fairly benign one. I asked him simply if Geno Smith still had a chance to be the Week 1 starter. And I didn't think that that was any kind of inflammatory question. And his response was that the Jets will ultimately determine who their Week 1 starter is at the appropriate time. That's not what I asked. I had asked him only if Geno still had a chance. And I didn't think that was going to spark as much controversy as it did.
What happens is a lot of athletes or coaches or managers, it's not the question you ask, it's the answer that they want to give. So they'll use that question, even though you could have asked about, their Week 1 opponent against Tampa and just about Tampa itself, and he would have given you probably that kind of answer. Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News joining us for the Dan Patrick Show. How does this all play out? The season, Rex, Sanchez, Geno Smith?
Well, then, look, Rex Ryan has been put in an untenable position. I said that from the beginning when they retained him and Woody Johnson, the owner, decided to fire Mike Tannenbaum, the general manager. It's a marriage that typically doesn't work when a new general manager inherits the head coach. And then when you don't have the talent, specifically at the offensive skill position players, you compound the problem. Because I do think the Jets will have a quality defense with Rex calling the plays again. Certainly a defense that can help you win games, but you need to generate points. And the biggest hole is at the most important position in team sports, quarterback. They don't have a competent quarterback at this point, and they don't have people around that quarterback to mitigate some of the issues that they have on offense. If they had a couple great wide receivers, maybe that could help out the quarterback, or a great running game, or a great offensive line. They don't have any of those pieces. So Rex is in a very difficult position. I wouldn't anticipate that he would be back unless they showed marked improvement from a 6-win season. I mean, to me, that means at least 500. And when you look at the talent that they have on offense on this roster, I can't foresee a season in which they go 8 or better.
Before I let you go, the governor of New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, was on the sports radio station WFAN in New York about an hour ago. He was filling in for Boomer Esiason. And your name came up, and the governor himself said that you were an idiot. The guy's a complete idiot, self-consumed, underpaid reporter. The only way he's empowered is because we're spending all this time talking about Manish Mehta this morning, who, by the way, I couldn't pick out of a lineup. And no Jets fan gives a damn about Manish Mehta. We shouldn't be giving this dope, the amount of airtime we've given him already. Well, any publicity, good publicity there?
All I'll say about that, Dan, is that I have a great deal of respect for Governor Christie, and I'm not going to go beyond that.
If you didn't have respect for him, what would you say?
But I do.
Oh, okay.
So
all right.
I want to leave it at
that. Is he friends with Rex? Is that why you're careful here?
No, they have a friendship, and I believe that Governor Christie consulted with Rex before he had his recent lap band surgery. So, yeah, I know that they're friends.
Okay, before I let you go, here you called for Rex's firing. How does it go when you see Rex today at practice?
Well, if you give me a call at 2:30, I'll let you know. You're speaking at 2:15.
Keep fighting the good fight. Thanks for joining us, Manish.
All right, anytime.
All right, Manish Mehta, New York Daily News, Jets writer. I like how the governor doesn't want to empower him anything, but he still brings his name up.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.